for the Gateshead Thunder side ahead of this game because their normal fullback Kevin Neighbour is unavailable for the first time in 40 games. In fact, because of a bizarrely earned knee injury, more on that later. So Neil Thorman switches to fullback. Then it's Robin Pears, Ben McAlpine, Jamie Russo who switches to the centres, Stuart Sanderson, Ryan Clark and Luke Brannigan. And in the forwards, Jason Payne, Andrew Henderson the captain, Chris Parker, Dylan Nash switches into the second row, Jamie Cording and Michael Knowles. And on the bench for the Thunder, Dave Vernon, Ryan McBride, Johnny Scott and Reece Clark, and the coach is Chris Hood. And it's a pretty weary Sheffield Eagles side. This is their third game in the space of a week. Of course, we saw them last Thursday night, a thrilling game against Doncaster, which they lost. Johnny Woodcock is at full-back. Bolu Fagboran wears 2. Then it's Menza Yeri, he's made such an impact already. Tangi Rapati, Ashley Thackeray, Brendan Lindsay and Aaron Groom, playing only his second game for the new club. In the forwards, Jack Howison, Matty Brooks, Mitchell Stringer, Alex Zostak, Tommy Traylor and Grant Edwards. And on the bench, Gavin Brown, who's back in the side after 15 months out because of injuries, Dane McDonald, Sam Barlow and Ryan Hepworth, and the coach, the long-serving Mark Aston. Here's the Sheffield Eagles side led out by Jack Howison, and as mentioned, Phil, a weary Sheffield Eagles side, 3 games in the space of a week. It's a tall order for Mark Aston's side.
It is, and all of the coaches will tell you that whenever a side has to play that volume of games, it's important that they respect possession as much as possible. You need to hold on to it and perhaps play a more conservative game than you would do. Minimise your errors and make sure that you complete as many times as you can. Carry the ball forward and just get to the other end of the field. If fatigue is a factor for them, sometimes as the game starts to open up, we might see Sheffield moving the ball around, because I suspect in number 21, Aaron Groom, we've got a player who could really ignite tonight's match and excite this competition to a higher level.
Chris Hood will have told his players all about that danger to their side. Referee tonight, James Childs, making his way up the refereeing rankings at the moment, and it'll be Sheffield Eagles who'll get us underway here at this international stadium. And the Eagles really are determined to bounce back after a very disappointing Easter for them. They lost to Doncaster, of course, by that 1 point, and they led against Featherstone and then lost that one as well. And I think they've got a bit of a point to prove here this evening. So too do Gateshead Thunder, and it's Thunder in possession. And they know that they're going to be fresher. They had a bye on Monday. They weren't asked to play, so you can expect to see Gateshead Thunder really trying to test this Sheffield side early on, and looking for an early 40-20 perhaps. And the pitch very firm here at the International Stadium, dry and firm, and that ball skipping away almost to the try line.
And the firm pitch suits fast players, particularly ones with good footwork. Here we see Tangi Rapati getting out of action halfback. The players who can change direction without losing speed as they approach opponents will be the keys to tonight's success.
It's the Eagles in possession. The last time these two sides met, just a couple of months ago, in fact, in the Northern Rail competition, and Gateshead were comfortable winners by 44 points to 18, and Dylan Nash got a hat-trick that night. It's also a bit of a motivation for this Sheffield Eagles side. Edwards plays the ball. Here's the captain, Jack Howison, on the charge. That's the 5th tackle. And Matty Brooks puts a little kick into space, and Thorman stretching for that one. Neil Thorman playing at full-back.
That's an interesting move, that, by Chris Hood, putting Thorman at full-back, emulating his brother Chris, who's at the Huddersfield club, but he'll give you great attacking options at the back. He's got very good vision, and the way he likes to play the game, as soon as he gets that ball in space, he will just be attacking.
There's Jamie Russo. Last time we saw him on Sky Sports in that drawn game at Batley, he was playing at loose forward. He's moved into the centres now. Bit of a rejig by Chris Hood. That's the 5th tackle. Bit of a loose pass, the pass before last by the Thunder. And Brannigan is under a little bit of pressure, but gets a good kick in, but it's fielded, very comfortably fielded by Aaron Groom now. And Groom Good ball to Thackeray. Oh, that was high. Thackeray is the one who's got up, and in fact, there's problems for Russo, and Russo stretching out for Thackeray has come off second best in that challenge.
It was an awful attempted tackle. He couldn't have gone any higher. He'd have actually ducked underneath it. Good counter-attacking play though. First by Groom, getting the ball to Thackeray. They want to even strike back on kick returns. Good strong start for both sides.
Jack Howison now in possession. Thankfully, Ashley Thackeray is back on his feet. No harm suffered from that shot. Here's Grant Edwards. Over the halfway line. The Sheffield Eagles win another penalty. Just trying to slow things down there, the Gateshead Thunder players. So that's back-to-back penalties for the Eagles, and that's taken them deep into Thunder territory.
No surprise they've come to centre field. They may go with one more, but I think the left side option, Menzies Yeri, is a key to this early score here.
Stringer eventually gets to his feet to play the ball. Here is Aaron Groom. Groom finds Grant Edwards. Edwards immediately looking maybe to link up with Groom again, but couldn't get the pass away. Knowles it was with the tackle. Groom once more. Howison. Brendan Lindsay puts the brakes on, gets the ball back in field. It goes to ground. First knock on, says the referee. And it'll be Gateshead Thunder head and feed. Disappointing end to that set of 6.
Was, wouldn't it? I would have to say you compliment Gateshead's defence though. They knew that they were going to go wide and they moved up quickly to contain Brendan Lindsay, force him back inside. Not quite sure how the first knock-on came off. Did he not throw the ball backwards? I thought that went backwards and it was a knock-on from Gateshead. The referee doesn't agree. Gateshead will be relieved here to get possession and get away from their own try line. Here we see it again. It squeezes out, yes, it went forwards.
Bit of a problem for Michael Knowles at the moment. For the Thunder, he's down on the ground having a bit of treatment. That left leg looks to be the problem.
Well, great harassment in defence there. They have to do that with Brendan Lindsay. It was quite clear that they would look to go to the left side attack. Fagboren and Yere.
I think he's been hard done to there. I think actually the Gateshead player knocked the ball out of Lindsay's hands.
It's academic. Head and feed, Gateshead.
Do you know, if I was the Gateshead players...
It's not academic because they've driven him back in the tackle and they'll get the goal line dropout.
And do you know, that's why I always say you've got to credit the defence. If you've got urgency like that, like the Sheffield players did, he took the ball out, the ball player in McAlpine tried to find the floor, he couldn't do that. It's his responsibility to either beat a man or find the floor and get that quick play the ball. Good Sheffield defence.
So Sheffield dominating proceedings early on here as Tanguy Rapati drives the ball back in. They've had a couple of penalties, they've already forced a goal line dropout. They've had Thunder defending on their own line and they're putting pressure on again here now with Jack Howison. Scottish international and former Hemel Stag Howison, very much part of the furniture of the Sheffield Eagles now. Here is Lindsay. Lindsay brings Menzies Yeri back on the inside. Yeri gets to his feet to play the ball. Little skipping run from Brooks, and then Brooks off loads to Johnny Woodcock, and Woodcock takes them on up the middle, and he's just short of that try line is Johnny Woodcock.
Go.
Aaron Groom now. Groom, as he likes to do, across the field, through the gap, and Aaron Groom shows the class that we were certain would emerge in the Sheffield Eagles side to get his second try of the season. Only his second game for the club, only his second game since that World Cup semi-final against Australia last November, and that was classy.
Well, Gateshead here have been tested on the line, but what about that here now, when they were trying to clear the ruck? 3, Grant Edwards, Rapati, the whole Sheffield commitment there to push him back in goal. The goal line dropout took them back to the try line. And then a try, a little bit similar to what Rob Burrow does for Leeds Rhinos. Aaron Groom just shows blistering pace to get around the outside of his opponent and then know that the other players will have to hang out to support and cover their defenders. Groom scores a wonderful individual effort.
Got that try on his debut last week in the defeat by Doncaster when he was still really getting his bearings on the pitch with this Sheffield side. And obviously another week, a little bit of improvement, and there's going to be that for sure to come from Aaron Groom. And Woodcock now with this conversion attempt, and this will just about wrap up a nigh on perfect start for the Sheffield Eagles side if he can land this, which he has done. And the Eagles here at the International Stadium ahead by 6 points to 0.
Chris Hood, the Gateshead coach, won't be happy with that. What got the Sheffield side into that field position was the ill discipline. Obviously, the defence off the Sheffield players to push Ben McAlpine over the in-goal area to get the dropout. But Aaron Groom, he is the go-to player. Whichever side of the ruck he's standing, he's the guy that Gateshead have really got to look out for.
It was no surprise to me that Sheffield would start this game well. They were appalling in the first 10 minutes of the match that we saw last week on Sky. And I'm sure there had been a real focus, because you could see with one or two of the early tackles, not just the one that forced them back in goal. There is a real heads-on commitment here in this match. They've started as they mean to continue.
There is Mark Aston, Mick Cook alongside him as well. The brains trust of the Sheffield Eagles. That's a bad pass, though. It's a bad error. And immediately, Gateshead Thunder are going to take over possession in a very handy position.
Well, the idea was great and the movement of play is excellent, but the delivery of the pass and the execution of the skill lets them down here now and puts them under pressure. Having scored, they'll now have to defend within their own 20.
That scrum just outside the 20, and here is Michael Knowles, and Knowles seemingly recovered from that bang he took, running strongly there. Quick play the ball as well. Here comes Dylan Nash, and Nash takes some stopping. Just short of that try line. Henderson scoops the pass out, and then Thorman changes direction, coming back at them. Trying to do an Aaron Groom, gets the pass away to Henderson. They're keeping this ball alive. Here's Chris Parker now. Parker, in the shadow of those Sheffield posts, plays the ball. Henderson, Brennigan, just for a moment sensed a gap in the Eagles' defence, but they quickly slam the door in his face. 4 tackles gone. The Eagles on their own try line as Henderson goes for it, and he's held up just short. Brannigan now stabs the kick in. Knowles will chase it, and they will get another set of 6. Will Gateshead Thunder, and it'll be Sheffield's turn to drop out under those posts.
We have to say, great composure here from Gateshead. When attacking the opponent's line, there's sometimes a tendency to get overexcited, even kick the ball too hard. But it's good skill from Brannigan to just make sure that it sits up in that short 6-metre in-goal area and give his side now 6 more chances to apply some pressure.
Thorman claims the restart, and Gateshead set about putting pressure on this Sheffield defence immediately. And now it's with Parker.
And both sides prepared to keep the ball alive, offload when you can, and force the opponents to do even more work in defence.
Here's Jason Payne, strong runner from Scarborough. Payne plays the ball on the 20. So immediately, Sheffield Eagles, the smile wiped off their faces having scored that try. They're very much on the back foot.
On the 10, hold, go.
There's Jamie Cording. Cording plays the ball. Brannigan, Thorman, Dylan Nash. Nash out wide. Now then, the try is immediately awarded to Robin Pears. And Pears squeezing in at the corner. And great hands from this Gateshead Thunder side. And it looked as though Pears was going to be tight for room there, but he went down and got that ball in the corner.
Well, they may have struggled to win some games this year, but they certainly don't struggle when it comes to entertainment. They get the ball wide to the winger, wonderful passes, players in space, taking the chances, and this is a wonderful rugby league try. Look, put the ball in front of Pears and ask him to squeeze in at the corner. Boran can't get there to prevent it, and I think that's great rugby league here. Nice ball from Nash, who's run strongly with the ball, attracts the defenders, sits one on a plate for Robin Pears.
Third try of the season for another of the locals in this Gateshead side. Great to see so many of them in the team. Pearce among them, a former Newcastle Eagles amateur player. And he's got Gateshead Thunder on the scoreboard, and a tall order for Knowles now to try and level this score. From way out on the touchline, he's given that a heck of a thump, and he's landed it as well. Well, immediately the score's a level. No sooner had Groom darted through for that try than Gateshead Thunder have come right back, and it's 6 apiece.
And let's credit that try there from the vision that Dylan Nash, who's playing in the back row but has played centre for this Gateshead side, Look at the way he takes the ball to the line, attracts the defenders, and just pops up that little neat pass to Robin Pears, who gets over in the corner.
So that'll settle the Thunder nerves. And it was an instant response from this Gateshead side. Sheffield looking to pin Gateshead down deep in their own territory. And a knock on.
Well, neither side has been able to complete a set and get out of their half having scored a try. Clark has come up with the error. Ryan Clark says that the ball was pulled out. I just think that maybe with Jack Harrison's attention, he needs to take greater care.
How many times do we say, as soon as you've scored a try, the next set of 6, you have got to concentrate. You don't want to be giving the ball away to guys like that. Rapati with the silly offload there. It's a good job he's at the right end of the pitch, but that was not on. The quick option there was to get down, play the ball, and it was the next attacking threat.
That was Tanguy Rapati with a rush of blood to the head, and Gateshead are off the hook. So both sides guilty of committing errors there. Rapati trying to go for the flash pass, but it wasn't on. It wasn't necessary either. There is Tanguy Rapati on his first cap for Samoa in the World Cup. Good chase from Brannigan here, and immediately putting Johnny Woodcock under pressure. Oh, and then Gateshead player spins away with a bang in the face. Stuart Sanderson, I think it is. Actually got a poke in the eye from one of his teammates, I think, in the tackle, the winger. Here goes Bolu Fagboran. Oh, and then the knock on, and Sheffield Eagles back to their old ways pretty rapidly. They were guilty of errors early on last week, and now they've come up with another sequence.
Well, if the coach can send on a message and change things at this point in the game, I'll sure say, let's be a bit more conservative. We don't need to offload the ball every single tackle. It's not compulsory that you have to get rid of it before you go to ground.
Thorman now. Here's the birthday boy, Jamie Russo, and I think Russo's got a problem, you know. He just collapsed to the ground there. That's a good thumping tackle on Ryan Clark. Russo is struggling with that shoulder. So Gateshead in possession, right in front of those posts. But again, that's good defence from the Sheffield Eagles. Driving the man back. Payne it was, gets to his feet to play the ball. Brannigan once more. Thorman. McAlpine is tackled. 4 tackles gone. As they tried to get that ball again to that Pears wing. It's a loose pass, and Henderson scoops it up. Then finds Knowles, and Knowles almost through a gap there. That little bit of a mishap almost opened up the defence, and Brannigan will take him on himself, and he'll get over the try line, will Luke Brannigan. But did he get it down? He did, says the referee. No recourse to the video ref there. And Luke Brannigan had the courage of his convictions there. He had a man outside him. It was on the last tackle, but he took him on himself. And Luke Brannigan gets into double figures for the season. Try number 10.
Well, not only was it impressive how he scored this try, but where he came from on the field to get in the position. He's run from the other side of the pitch to get around to this short side where he sensed an opportunity that Sheffield was short of defenders. And having worked to get in this position, he's convinced he's going to make a result of it. Gets over and grounds the ball well. They're turning the pressure into points. Here's the error from Fagboran. He offloads to Brooks. Not the right time for them. And they make it pay. Late in the tackle count, he crashes over.
A rarity in the British game. Luke Brannigan, a Maltese international, has a Maltese passport, has played in the NRL, and making an impact now in the Championship with that try that's put Gateshead Thunder into the lead. And Michael Knowles has obviously brought his kicking boots with him. He landed one from way out wide on the other side of the field. This one surely favours his round the corner kicking style. Put the mockers on him. Knowles misses with that one, but Gateshead, having been 6-0 down, have now moved into a 10-6 lead here.
He heard you there, Bill. Luke Brannigan, that was sheer strength getting over for that try. But if you just watch how he pumps the pass as he gets to the line, he gets a one-on-one with the attack, or with the defender, sorry, who was Matty Brooks, and just crashes straight over. But that was just sheer strength, sheer determination from the number 7, Luke Brannigan.
Came here from the French competition, in fact, Luke Brannigan. Lesignan and Toulouse were the clubs he played for over there. And Gateshead Thunder about to tap into the French market again very shortly, I understand. They've got Paul Francais, Nick Youngquest and Chris Kaler due to join them from the French elite competition. I think all 3 of those players are involved in the Cup Final Series and the end of season series there. But come the end of May, that'll certainly boost this Gateshead Thunder side.
They're not a bad side. A quick look at the league table does not do an accurate reflection of just how good they are, the style of rugby they play and entertainment they provide.
There's the captain, Andrew Henderson, plays the ball on the halfway line. Brannigan fires the pass out, well scooped up by Dylan Nash. It was dipping down by his feet. Robin Pears now. And that'll be the turnover. It's on the last. They kind of lost their way. It was McAlpine, in fact, in possession. Tommy Traylor will play the ball. And Fagboren.
Surrender! Stand! Go.
So Sheffield Eagles immediately put back in their place. Perfect start for them. Maybe they got a little bit carried away, because Gateshead Thunder have come right back at them to take the lead.
Hold. Go. Foot on the ball.
But this is the first set of 6 they've had in the Gateshead half since scoring virtually.
And it's quite clear, isn't it? 3 single-man carries here now. They're just determined to get somewhere on this set. Howison offloads though, and it's their offloads that are killing them. The quality of them not good enough at this level, and now an error. The referee says it was stolen. Penalty to Gateshead, and they should get out to their own half here. Trouble's over.
Ball sail.
I thought
there's nothing wrong with that, of the offload, I should say. It's great effort here by Ryan Nash to get himself in a position to capitalise on the offload. He then had the ball stolen.
You were saying that the message might have gone out that Sheffield should respect possession, and it looked as though it had got out for a moment and got through, but then they went and offloaded it like that.
You just got to build pressure in the game of rugby league. You need hold of the ball to score any tries, and it's like in collisions like this that this is where you start to win the game. I've been very impressed with Jason Payne, the way he's took the game to a big physical Sheffield side. Jack House and Mick String are probably 2 of the biggest prop forwards in this division.
Michael Knowles will play the ball about 25 metres out. Off goes Russo. Makes a bit more progress. 4 tackles gone then for the Gateshead Thunder in this set of 6. Here is Henderson. Brannigan for Chris Parker, and Parker, no nonsense approach from the big former Gateshead Storm player. Brannigan now. This time Brannigan puts the kick in. Fagboren is under pressure, and McAlpine, I think, will claim the try. It's going to need judgment from video ref Jamie Leahy to see if that is the case. But McAlpine is a tall centre, and I think he got well up above Bola Fagboren there.
Well, it's another last tackle try. Teams talk about the quality to finish a set. This is brilliant. The kick is perfect. The timing of the run, let's hope, is also perfect, as this deserves a try. This is great skill here to time your run, get up to the highest point as the ball comes down, and ground it successfully from McAlpine. Get to look at it again here. Very little here that the Sheffield side can do. They're stood still, they're not able to jump with any momentum. McAlpine goes highest in the air and gets the ball down, I think, at that point. That is brilliant. We get to see it again here. Does he ground the ball? I think he did it there, I have to say. This is the 3rd try now for Gateshead.
Very Pat Richards looking sort of try that was, the way he got up there and just hung in the air to wait for that ball and claim the try, his 4th of the season. And McAlpine extending the Gateshead Thunder lead, and they really have turned this game round after a dreadful start, conceding a try in the first 5 minutes.
Well, again, it's just going to show us his full repertoire. A left-footed kick to the corner. 3 of the Gateshead players knew what was coming, and McAlpine was the one to capitalise. Takes it to the line, attracts the defenders, and then just chips it over. It's a hole-in-one, and it's another 4 points for Gateshead.
Fagboren doing his best to try and deny Ben McAlpine, but he couldn't. Now then, Michael Knowles. Does he favour this side of the field? The crowd over his shoulder will tell you that he's landed that one. And Gateshead Thunder ahead by 16 points to 6.
Big Ben McAlpine, the scorer of that try, the man in your picture there, has played a lot of fullback, so he knows how to jump, he knows how to compete for a ball. Luke Brannigan, a good change of tempo, sees that Blue Fagboren's out on the wing. Ben McAlpine is going to score that try all day and all night, just simply because the size of the guy taking a run up and jumping on top of Blue Fagboren.
3 tries in the space of 8 minutes for the Gateshead Thunder. They really have stormed back to take control, well, not control of this game, but they're looking very commanding at the moment. And Sheffield Eagles being their own worst enemy, just as they were against Doncaster last week.
Sheffield need to get hold of the ball. They've done nothing but defend since they opened up with that try. All they've seemed to have done, defend. Penalty. Is this the chance now that they need?
Knowles adjudged to have knocked that ball on. Under pressure in the tackle. And to be fair, there were hands in there, but the hands had gone by the time he let that one slip.
2 hands.
So the Sheffield Eagles, well, Terry's saying that they needed the ball. Well, they've got it now, and they've got it in a great position as well.
But you know what, Bill? They don't have to score this set of 6. As long as they stay down here, they camp down here, maybe they get a repeat set of 6, they build a bit of pressure, they keep hold of the ball. It's only 22 minutes gone, there's 80 minutes in this game of Rugby League.
Grant Edwards with the first assault on the Gateshead Thunder defence. Then Tommy Traylor takes the ball in. And
Eddie Hemming's penalty, and rightly so.
he didn't play that ball correctly, Traylor.
Well, I agree with Eddie. I think that more of this needs to be picked up. We do need to stamp it out. You've got to make an effort, a genuine effort, and touch the ball with your foot as it's played.
And James Child, the referee, just telling Tommy Traylor off the ball that he'd already warned him once about his play the ball technique. Oh, Nash almost going without that.
There's some real feeling now in this defence.
The ball's gone forwards, and then Nash objecting to the tackle.
Well, on the previous play, I thought Menzies Yerry dropped late in the tackle onto the grounded player. Here now, Nash is carried over, slammed on his head and loses possession. He thought he was going to the sideline.
Well, he's a very rugged competitor, Menzies Yerry.
Same again, arms around.
And Dylan Nash didn't like, I think, the after attention he got there.
Stay.
Keep an eye on that one. To Dylan Nash isn't that slight, you'd have to say. Groom almost worming his way through there. Thorman just managing to keep a hold of an ankle. Knowles finishing off the tackle. Here's Jack Howison now.
Go.
Gavin Brown on the field and into the thick of things. Good to see him back, the Eagles' longest serving player, and Lindsay almost slipping through a gap. There is Gavin Brown wearing number 7, been out for 15 months, came back over Easter. Had a succession of injuries. And a really canny performer, guides the side round the field, which is what he's doing now, linking up with Aaron Groom. And Groom again, just trying to prise open a gap in this Gateshead Thunder defence, but they're wise to it that time. It was Johnny Scott with the tackle. The kick comes in from Brown. It's going to be a little bit too strong. It's well read by Stuart Sanderson.
You have to make very tough decisions when you're playing on the wing. Stuart Sanderson had to decide then, would this ball go over the dead ball line before any of the Sheffield players get to me? You don't know how far they are behind you. It's a judgment call. Sometimes you get it right, sometimes you get it wrong. His teammates are relieved that he did allow that one to go. Didn't fancy the prospects of another goal line dropout.
Hold. Go.
Ryan McBride gets to his feet to play that ball.
Second. Move. Go
Gavin Brown in with the tackle as Clark plays the ball. Here's Knowles.
Third. Move. Hold.
Knowles is tackled by Grant Edwards. Jamie Russo now, and Russo, despite that shoulder problem, taking the ball in strongly. Thorman, again they're looking to get the ball out to that right-hand side. Nash pops the ball over the top for Pearce. Pearce on the chase, and Bullet Fagboren tracking back well, picks the ball up. Menzies Yeri it is. Bola Fagboren now, and Fagboren flirting with that touchline.
Move in. Hold. Go.
Well, it's been several efforts here now. You see the little stab through, not quite far enough. But Gateshead have successfully shifted it to their right wing. And now Sheffield, with a sign of desperation here, moving the ball wide inside their own 20-metre zone. Just need to get forward. Grant Edwards here now with a run and pass. Keeping it alive here now. Hepworth made a difference as he entered the field.
That's the 5th tackle, and they're only just outside their 20. Lindsay will thump a kick downfield, looking for a 40-20, but way short of the mark, and it's fielded by Sanderson. A wall of Sheffield Eagles players there to greet him, and it's Hepworth who makes the tackle.
Well, this is now when Gateshead need to press with their intensity, push harder. They must have the opponents here slightly tired. We've seen the possession stats. They've had the majority of the ball in the best part of the field. Can they convert more into this pressure into points?
Thorman, characteristic Thorman step there. Seen it from brother Chris, and brother Paul has it as well down at the Scholars, I'm sure. The Thunder supporters getting behind their side as they once more test this Sheffield Eagles defence. Brannigan pops the pass up to Johnny Scott. Scott is tackled, that's the 5th. Henderson now. Knowles a little kick in, it's ricocheted and it's popped down by Sanderson. And Sanderson claims the try. A lovely little kick from Knowles, which I think might have taken a little ricochet. But it's come up for Chris Hood's side. Oh dear. If looks could kill. The Eagles coach not best pleased with the way this game has been turned on its head.
Well, you have to be impressed with how Gateshead finished the sets. Whichever player it goes to, they have the skills here. The accurate kick through that does ricochet, but it allows Sanderson to score here again. All the players behind him, it's the last tackle option. Russo thought it was going to him, but it bounced kindly for Sanderson. They're now showing here now as Sheffield start to tire somewhat. They're taking their advantage and converting more into points.
They were queuing up for it there with the Gateshead Thunder players. Jamie Russo was very nearly on the end of it, but as the stats show, it was Stuart Sanderson who claimed his 11th try of the season. He is the top try scorer for the club so far. Although Luke Brannigan is hot on his heels. Brannigan on 10 and now Sanderson on 11. And Knowles right down below us. Try not to put him off this time. That one is just in off the upright. Whack on the upright, whack of the woodwork, and Sanderson's try converted by Knowles, 22 points to 6.
Michael Knowles is a real talent. I know it was Sanderson who scored the try, but what a neat little kick. And that's what you get when you have the ball that much. The defenders can't get off the line, they can't try and dominate you in defence. If you're coming off a quick play of the ball, you can place that kick wherever you want to place it. And Michael Knowles placed that kick in the perfect position for Sanderson to score.
Coming up to the half-hour mark then, and Gateshead ahead by 22 points to 6. The last time we saw them on Sky was at Batley. They led 16-0 at half-time and then saw that one drift away from them and had to settle for a draw. Of course, they were playing uphill into the gale force wind that night. And of course, sad to hear the Gary Thornton parting company with the Batley Bulldogs after 5.5, 6 years coming on for that. But reaching the end of the road with the Bulldogs.
Great save by Fagboren. His side needed that. They couldn't afford to be trapped in the corner. Gateshead had decided to kick on after the 3rd tackle. Attempted to really go to the other end of the field, and Sheffield are in survival mode here. Oh, the pass again behind Rapati. I've said before, passing the ball in front of where the man is, it has to be where he's going to be when it gets there. Failing at the moment to hit the right spot.
But it seems just at the minute this Sheffield side are trying to get the ball to the most influential players on the pitch. Whether that's Rapati, whether that's Aaron Groom, you can't do that. You've got to lay the foundation, you've got to make the hard yards or the middle of the park, and that's what this Gateshead side have done. And that's why people like Thorman, who's got the ball, are having a field day.
And it was Thorman who plays the ball. Here's Dylan Nash. really chunky figure, Dylan Nash.
And that again, Bill, he's come from the other side of the ruck, from the scrum, sorry, to get to the other side of the ruck to get that quick play of the ball for his halfbacks.
It's all Gateshead Thunder at the moment. They are dominating this game. And they're charging up the middle with Johnny Scott again, and Scott very close. He's held, says the referee, right underneath those posts. Well, the Gateshead kicking game has caused all sorts of damage, and Brannigan's caused damage, and he's causing some more now, but I think they've managed to hold him up just short of the try line. They go for 1 point, and they get it. Although James Child not certain, he was right underneath those posts. Thorman it was who claimed that.
Well, after Brannigan had been trapped in the last tackle, yes, I don't think there's any doubt that that goes through in between the uprights, certainly over the crossbar. Confirmed.
So another point to the Gateshead tally. 23-6 they lead now.
Well, Brannigan trapped, having gone for the try on the previous play. Last tackle, they'll take 1 more point for consolidation. But I tell you what was impressive, the speed with which Sheffield got to restart here. There's still a massive energy, and they've kicked it short and got the ball back here.
Or have they?
Oh,
Piers does well there, but it does ever so well. Or is McAlpine, I think, actually. Ben McAlpine doing the great job there, because to start with, gathering the restart was an effort in itself, but then to offload the ball as he was heading for the sidelines. So Gateshead survived that. Scott dumped to the ground.
great play, kept it alive inside as he was carried over the sideline.
And Gateshead probably doing what Mark Aston would desperately hope his Sheffield Eagles side could do. That's getting to the kick, getting to the last play and making it effective. But they're just not patient enough. And Knowles has put Sanderson away for his second try. And they're in again. And Sheffield are in disarray at the moment. And Stuart Sanderson claims his second try of the night. And the Sheffield Eagles defence just melted away there on the right-hand side. And the youngsters in here, 2 schools parties here tonight. They're impressed, not so Mark Aston, the Eagles coach.
Well, again, Luke Brannigan set this up because he came from the open side of the field round to the short side, and he made it a 4-on-3. Look, he just gets there in time. There are now 4 attackers and only 3 defenders. That overlap is made to pay, and very little a fullback can do when he's sprinting across. Woodcock stepped inside by Sanderson, who finishes like a good winger. At pace, changed direction, unstoppable, 4 more points.
Stuart Sanderson, former Wath-Brow player in the days of his youth, that comes from the Whitehaven part of the world. You can see in the box there Chris Hood. Just alongside him is Kevin Neighbour, his injured full-back. Kevin Neighbour injured by a referee, would you believe? He was playing against Featherstone last week and was on the attack with his teammates. Gareth Ewer, the referee, was desperately trying to get out of the way, couldn't manage to do so. The 2 of them collided, and Kevin Neighbour just got a bang on the knee. Nothing too serious, but it's kept him out of tonight's game, and I'm sure he's enjoying watching this one. And I understand that he and Gareth Ewer have been in contact and shared a joke about it, and Michael Knowles has just managed to squeeze that one in as well. And it's 29 points to 6 the scoreline now, and Gateshead Thunder from 6-0 down are really storming away with this.
These full-time referees, Bill, aren't half big, you know. But what a game for this Gateshead side. They started really slow, but just the attacking options that they got. Brannigan to Knowles, Sanderson, just sheer confidence, stepped off his left foot in for that try. If I was Mark Aston, all I'd be saying is get through this set of 6, and you've got to come up with the ball. You've got to come up with even the outside backs, 6 scoots or 5 scoots and a kick. Don't try anything fancy, because when you try something fancy, you're losing possession.
Sheffield Eagles now just hoping to get to half-time, really. 5 minutes away before they suffer any more damage, because almost every time Gateshead attack, they look as though they're going to find a gap in this Sheffield Eagles defence. And then when Sheffield have possession, it looks as though they're going to hand it back to Gateshead.
Surrender!
I don't think you can criticise Sheffield for simply missing tackles. They have made errors with the ball, but the skill on shore from Gateshead, the movement of players, the change of direction, stacking one side over the other, have all contributed with some brilliant kicks. to give them such a healthy lead.
Clear, give 10 minutes.
Brannigan with the kick on the halfway line, and Fagwarren back to gather the ball and gets away from the first line of defence and almost from the second line of defence.
But look how much energy that the Gateshead chasers have got, surely because they're controlling the football.
Offside and involved.
Mensah-Yeri with a bullocking run, and the penalty goes against Gateshead for offside.
Well, here's a chance now for Sheffield. Again, a penalty. You can see not enough of the Gateshead players back in line with the referee in the green shirt. And now a good kick to touch. 6 tackles, 4 minutes. Here's a chance.
If they hold on to the ball. Here's Sam Barlow. Barlow, an impressive performer against Doncaster last time we saw the Sheffield Eagles.
One, move, hold.
Alex Sostak plays the ball, the Scottish international. Grant Edwards.
Second.
And Dane McDonald is tackled.
Hold. Go.
Gateshead haven't really had to defend for up their own try line for a while now. They've been dominating proceedings up the other end of the field. Hepworth
Move. Third.
trying to spin and offload that ball. Here is Aaron Groom. We saw the damage he can do the last time. Good tackling though.
Line, hold.
Sostak felt that. It was Knowles who put the hit in. That's a good ball though. Stretching out for the try. And I think it's Sam Barlow who's got it. He has right under the posts. And that's just what the Sheffield Eagles needed just before the half-time interval. That's more like it, says the coach. And Sam Barlow gets his 3rd try of the season in the perfect position as well. They'll get 6 points to end this first half with.
There's no problem with Sheffield's confidence. You knew at the start of this set they were convinced somehow they would get up to the try line. Sam Barlow just about does that. Grant Edwards, clever little run out of dummy half, attracts 1 or 2 defenders, and then tasks and challenges one of his teammates. We need a score. Barlow came up with it.
And now Johnny Woodcock, who's been in great form with the boot so far this season for the Sheffield Eagles. He's landed 35 goals already to date. And right in front of the posts to give Sheffield Eagles heart towards the end of this first half. 29 points to 12 now, the scoreline. So Gateshead just getting a little bit of a reminder that there's a long way to go in this game. They've seen a lead slip away once already this season. And Mark Aston been in the game long enough to know that things can turn around. Chris Hood, rookie coach by comparison.
Stay on.
And Knowles with the restart. The Eagles have time for another one if they so choose, if they can get the ball up the other end, but a little bit sloppy at the restart, allowing it to bounce. That ball's been dropped by Traylor, and Traylor guilty of the knock-on right on his own try line, and Gateshead quickly form the scrum, but in the wrong place.
You've got to admire their urgency here. Wanted to score again here. There is an arm involved there, but it's like some we saw earlier in the match. Well, they're just hoping now that his teammates can help him out for the next 90 seconds.
Here's Brannigan, and Chris Hood saying before the game that they were really going to try and make Brannigan the focal point of their game, allow him to dictate proceedings, and he's done that to good effect so far tonight.
Go.
Henderson now. Payne on the charge, driven back.
Movement. Hold. Hold. Go.
Henderson, Brannigan, short pass from Brannigan. It's with Ryan Clark, and Ryan Clark is held up just short of the try line. 3 tackles gone.
Hold. Go. Okay.
Henderson stabs the kick in, and offside against the Sheffield Eagles. That ricochet was taken by a Sheffield Eagles player in an offside position. Gateshead get the penalty, and I think Knowles will go for the 2 points.
On with a knee in that tackle there. On the back of his leg.
I think in some ways Sheffield may be quite relieved here. They'll hope this kick won't go over. See, he is offside, it comes off his foot, goes forward. I think it's Tommy Traylor who has made the mistake a minute ago. Just glad Gateshead coach, 2 fingers in the air, he's hoping they can put 2 more points on the scoreboard.
We'd fancy Knowles to land this one. He's kicked 4 from 5 so far tonight. Sheffield Eagles haven't had a lot of joy from referees in the last few weeks. probably feeling a little bit hard done by, and they are at the end of this first half, because they trail by 31 points to 12, and a pretty remarkable turnaround in this game, because Sheffield Eagles starting it so strongly and looking as though they really meant to make a point after a disappointing Easter, and Gateshead Thunder recovering from that start to really take a grip on this game, and Stuart Sanderson among the try scorers, getting 2 as the Gateshead Thunder go into the break with a comfortable lead.